Summer of Broken Rules, Chapter 20. Saturday. The sun woke me up, soft beams spilling in through the bunk room's blinds. I hadn't expected to sleep so well in Claire's bed, but I hadn't woken up once. Thank you, I thought, snuggling back into the cozy pillows and closing my eyes again before taking a sweet, deep breath and pushing back my sister's white coverlet. Today was a special day. I fed an impatient Loki and then headed over to the cabin, welcomed by the remains of the rehearsal dinner after party, someone's guitar on an Adirondack chair, empty beer cans scattered around the fire pit, and a few coals still glowing. The walk to Whit's room was now second nature, the screen door opening and squeaking shut behind me. Ugh, he groaned, voice absolutely shot. It crackled like a campfire. Michael, no, I'm not going on a run. It's not Michael. I took a flying leap onto his bed. It's someone much, much worse. Oh, is that so? Whit laughed, and together we maneuvered me under his covers and into his warm arms. He smelled like oranges in the vineyard breeze, but also cigar smoke. That explained his hard voice. Party too hard last night? I joked. He must have joined the shenanigans after our disaster of a driveway dare. Another groan. Peer pressure. Yeah, I said. They say you're supposed to resist it. Whit buried his face in my blue Hamilton College t-shirt, and I ran a hand through his hair. It was stiff from the ocean salt. I'm so tired, he croaked. Things didn't wind down till 4 a.m. I went to bed at 2:30, but how are you supposed to sleep when the party's right outside your door? You aren't, I replied, suddenly nervous for him. It was 8, and his first obligation of the day was in less than an hour. Whit nodded before popping his head up to look at me. Did you sleep well? He asked. Yes, I said, smiling a little. Yeah, I actually slept really well. Good, he smiled back. That's good. Then we just looked at each other, his heavy-lidded turquoise eyes staring into mine. I knew he wanted to kiss me, and I knew I wanted to kiss him, because if we were going to pretend today, I was going to pretend. Will you brush your teeth first? I whispered. Cigar breath. I wrinkled my nose. Yuck. Whit pushed back his covers, and I watched as he stood there in his boxers, stretching his wiry limbs, languidly, dramatically, totally on purpose. You're wicked, I say. You go wild for it, he said back, and disappeared into the tiny bathroom attached to his room. Just a toilet and a sink. The cabin's only shower was out back. I heard him turn on the faucet. Do you have a plan? I asked a few minutes later after several minty fresh kisses. A plan? Yes, I said, a plan. Because you needed a plan for Paco's assassin showdown. Forget about having the entire farm as your playground. The grand finale was held Hunger Games style in a certain sector of the vast field. Spectators created the borders of the arena with their beach towels and chairs. The commissioners were almost exact replicas of Whittledon's tall green referee thrones. They'd been wheeled out of the barn yesterday, and each had an awning to prevent any sun-related view obstruction. This morning, people yawned as they unfolded their chairs. Eli had brought a pillow along, spreading out on his beach towel and promptly falling asleep. Way to support Eli, Lily grumbled as she double-knotted her sneakers. You'll be the first I thank when I win. Jake and Pravika laughed. Per Aunt Christine's request, the showdown was happening much earlier than usual, so as not to interfere with the wedding itinerary. Both the bridesmaids and groomsmen were having private brunches before spending the day getting ready. Well, at least the bridesmaids were. Whit had mentioned that Michael and his groomsmen had agreed to go surfing later. It's a suit and tie, Gavin the best man had rationalized. It'll take 10 seconds. All right, everyone. Wink's voice boomed through his commissioner megaphone. Welcome, welcome to this summer's Assassin Showdown. Exhaustion aside, we mustered up cheers. Are all our finalists here? Honey asked, glancing around today's playing field. Like clockwork, the number of active assassins had severely diminished in the last few days. The largest showdown I'd witnessed was 12, the smallest 3. Either way, Claire had always made short work of everyone. I felt a tug in my heart, still disappointed that I hadn't been able to pull the trigger on Wit. If I had, maybe I'd be one of the assassins gearing up for their final assignments. This year, there were 7 contenders: Wit, Luli, Uncle Brad, Nicole Dupre, Pravika's older sister, a groomsman, and everyone but Julia, Uncle Brad told his parents. Although she might what, Brad? Aunt Julia asked, sauntering into the ring with her water gun. She might what? Mommy! Hannah and Ethan exclaimed from the sidelines. Aunt Julia smirked. You didn't think I was going to forfeit, did you? A hand on her hip. I would never. Exactly. That was exactly what she did. When Honey blew the whistle for the showdown to commence, every assassin spread out and claimed their own space, while Aunt Julia stood stock style in the center of the arena. I'm not going anywhere. Divya, she said to Pravika's sister, come on over here. She sat down in the grass. I'm all yours. Divya sized her up and quickly struck. Wonderful. Aunt Julia stood and surrounded her target. Luli, I knew. Let's go, kiddies, she said to Ethan and Hannah, waving to them. There's someone Mom and I want you to meet. Play got serious after that. Now with plenty of momentum, Pravika's sister was making Luli work for it, the two of them running in circles. Seriously, Divya? Luli shouted. After all we've been through together, sharing a tent for the past week? Ooh, Jake jeered from the sidelines. What happened in the tent? His sister flashed him the finger and continued dodging Divya. Meanwhile, Nicole Dupre was pursuing the groomsman as he pursued Uncle Brad, a triangle that was far too preoccupied to notice Bandana Bandit Wit perched in the tree at the field's edge. He hid there for 10 minutes, revealing himself only when it became clear Divya was worn out from chasing Luli, her ponytail strung back and forth, her breathing heavy. Divya, he called out, swinging down from a branch. Do you need water? He held up his Gatorade bottle. I have water. Hands on her knees, Divya nodded. Oh, Divya, Pravika sighed. You idiot. She's dehydrated, Jake said. She's not thinking straight. Pravika snorted. I certainly hope not. I stifled a giggle as Wit, seemingly harmless, walked up to Divya and squirted her in the stomach. Divya, came Honey's voice over her microphone. Terminated. And Vincent, Wink said. Terminated. Our heads swiveled to see Nicole cheer as the groomsmen fell to the ground. It was down to her, Uncle Brad, Luli, and Wit, but you could only see the women in the arena. Wit had scrambled back into his tree, and Uncle Brad had hidden in the tall grass. Two of the most offensive players, I smirked to myself, now playing defensively. Brad, my dad whisper yelled, you're almost out of bounds. Hey, I called down the line, no coaching. Hypocrite, Claire joked, and I felt myself blush. Luli and Nicole were both pacing to catch their breath. Wit now had Luli, while Luli had Nicole. Go for it, I wanted to tell my friend. She's right there. Oh shit, Eli said, all of a sudden awake. Look, he pointed to Luli, who was picking up Wit's Gatorade bottle. He'd abandoned it in the grass after knocking off Divya. We watched Luli chug water. The sun was beating down on us this morning. Is this a trap? I said, and gestured to Wit's tree, when Eli raised an eyebrow. You couldn't see Wit, but poking out from behind the trunk were the 6 purple nozzles of Claire's elaborate water gun, with 3 nozzles on either side. The jetpack contraption provided inconceivable range. No, Pravika whined. Not Luli, not yet. Jake shifted excitedly. His humiliation over Wednesday's water balloon attack was nothing compared to what was about to happen to his sister. Pass the fucking popcorn. 1, I thought, heart speeding up. 2, pause. 3, 6 streams of water nailed Luli in the back. Ouch, was the collective reaction from the crowd. Luli's shirt was soaked. She whipped around and then she spotted Wit. She chuckled she chucked his water bottle at him. "You asshole," she shouted. "You complete ass." "Stand down, Lily," Wink interrupted. "Stand down." She scoffed and stopped over to the sidelines. "Cover your ears," Jake said, as Honey announced Lily's termination. "She's gonna scream." We did as told, but nothing could drown out Lily's cries of frustration. Out on the field, Whit left Claire's jetpack on the ground and climbed up the tree. Nicole, his new target, stood there, studying him. "He's going to win this from a tree," Jake said. "I'm calling it right now. He's going to win this whole thing without leaving the tree." "No, he's not," I said. Jake leaned forward in his beach chair. "You want to bet?" I laughed. "Jake, I really don't want to rob you of your Mad Martha's tips." "Okay, but Meredith," Eli said a few beats later. "How many weapons," he pointed to the tree, the neon super soaker now dangling from a branch, "does he have up there?" "And is that even legal?" Pravika asked. "Should I ask Whit?" "Sit your butt down, Pravika," Lily said, joining us. It looked like the screaming had helped. She seemed calmer, and she immediately accepted the iced coffee I offered her. "You know the only rule is to stay within the arena's border." "I believe that's all of them," I said to Eli as Whit slung the super soaker over his shoulder. He needed to switch from defense to offense now. There was no way Nicole was going anywhere near the tree, and Uncle Brad was slowly army crawling through the tall grass. "So how are we going to do this, Whit?" Nicole asked her stepbrother. Even from afar I could see her water gun shaking in her hands. It wasn't aimed. Whit wasn't her target. "You want to run around some?" He shrugged. "Not really." "You're no fun." "Suppose not." They remained in a standoff. I glanced down the sidelines to see Michael looking absolutely distraught. His younger sister and his beloved stepbrother. Who did he want to win? Whit raised the super soaker with one hand, and Nicole tried to fake him out a few times before running straight at him, just as predicted. "Drop it," I murmured. "Drop it now." "Holy crap," Lulu said when Whit dropped the big water gun in favor of grabbing Claire's handgun from the back of his shorts. He shot his stepsister in the neck. "That was amazing," Pravika breathed. "Genius," Jake marveled. "I think I'm in love with him," Eli declared. "Think again," I muttered at the same time a roar went through the crowd and Honey announced with way too much joy in her voice, "Nicole terminated." "Oh, think again?" Eli asked. He leaned over and pinched me. "Why's that, Mare?" Luckily I was safe from answering. Nicole had fully tackled Whit, and they were rolling around in the grass. "Stop!" Aunt Christine and Ginny Dupre shouted. "The wedding photos!" And Uncle Brad, I thought. It's just him and Whit now. Nicole conceded, following in Lily's footsteps and stalking off the field. "Well, it's you and me, Uncle Brad," Whit said, when the father of the bride rose from the tall grass. "You and me." "I knew it would be," my uncle said, shaking his head. "You or Mare. I knew it would be one of you." He bowed. "May the best man win." Whit bowed too. "May the best man win." His hands were splayed open, nothing to hide. "Oh my gosh," Pravika said. "He's unarmed." Eli latched onto my arm. "Please tell me he has another water gun and hidden in his shorts." "How would I know?" I asked. My friends gave me a look. "No," I told them, "he doesn't. It would only weigh him down." Because now Whit needed to be light on his feet. Taking Uncle Brad on a little run, he weaved in figure eights across the field, then abruptly pivoted and sprinted in the opposite direction. Sarah's dad fired again and again, but Whit was always gone before the spray could catch him. "Is he gonna grab the super soaker?" Jake wondered aloud. "I do the water bottle," Lily said. "Easy to sweep up." "What about the handgun?" Pravika suggested. I looked down the sidelines, everyone now wide awake and leaning forward in their seats. Soon, I thought, we'll be celebrating soon. 5 minutes later, Uncle Brad was winded. It wasn't that he was out of shape, but Whit was 19, and my uncle was nearing 60. Whit stopped running and turned his back to us. There was a line of sweat running down his t-shirt, and his bandana was now down around his neck. "Hot," he commented. "Blazing," Uncle Brad replied, wiping his brow. Still unarmed, Whit started walking backward toward the sideline. and my uncle noticed. I watched him step forward and reposition his water gun. No, Pravika whispered. He's backing himself out of bounds. Relax, I told her. Whit kept backing up, Uncle Brad advancing. Slowly, smoothly, they exchanged funny pleasantries along the way. It was a dance that concluded with Whit seemingly trapping himself in a corner, but one directly in front of me. Wait, stop, I exclaimed as Whit put a hand behind his back, fingers ready and waiting. You're right on the border. Don't move. Yes, Uncle Brad drawled like a Disney villain. Don't move, kid. There was a gasp when he pulled his trigger, and an even louder one, a heartbeat later, when Whit crouched down to avoid the stream and whispered, Now, killer. I quickly grabbed the pink squirt gun from under my seat and pressed it into his hand. My insides in a knot as Whit leapt up, lunged forward, and assassinated Uncle Brad for the victory. The crowd went wild. Whitty! Michael appeared out of nowhere and hoisted Whit up onto his shoulders. Whitty for the win! Uncle Brad stood there, stunned. But, no, he said, shaking his head. No. What do you mean, no? Sarah asked. Dad, come on, you lost. She kissed his cheek. Second place is still great. He broke the rules, Uncle Brad said, Wink and Honey now on the scene. Michael lowered Whit back down to the ground. Meredith handed him the gun. Yes, dear, Honey said, but there is technically no rule about phoning a friend. She smiled. The finalists and their weapons need only stay within the border. She gestured to the spray-painted line. My dad's project yesterday afternoon. Mayor's chair is over the line, though, Mom, Uncle Brad replied, just like everyone else's. Actually, it's not, I chimed in, because I have a beach lounger, not your standard beach chair. The lounger was another gem I found in the annex's storage shed. It was old and faded, but still usable. I knew it would come in handy for something. The footrest is just across the line, inside the arena, I continued smoothly, even though my heart was racing 100 miles per hour. I hid the gun right under there. Of course, an inspection followed. Wink bent down to see if there was the slightest of indentations in the grass from the water gun, and after getting Honey's input, he raised the megaphone to his lips. Our champion, everyone, Stephen Witry. Screams erupted again. Sarah launched herself at Whit, and out of the corner of my eye saw Honey smile and lovingly pat her eldest child's cheek. Someday, she said. Once everyone had settled down, my grandparents presented Whit with his Summer Assassin's gold medal, plastic from the pharmacy in town, identical to all the ones Claire had hung on her bedroom wall. I just watched him. I watched him give handshakes to all the other finalists. I watched him high-five my mom and dad. I watched him hug Jeanne and his step-siblings. Then he and his father hugged for a long time. Eventually, it was only the two of us in the arena. He was so sweaty that he swept me up into his arms. Congratulations, I told him. Eli has already proclaimed his love for you. He put me down and grinned at me. I couldn't have done it without you, he said. You're the reason I won. I batted my eyelashes. Am I? Yes, he nodded. Oh, come on, I waved him off. All I did was hand you the gun. Whit wrapped me in another hug. Do you think she'd be happy? He whispered. I know she would have wanted it to be you, but still, is it okay that I won? Without a doubt, I whispered back. The sun couldn't be brighter. Claire was overwhelmingly proud, without a doubt. Then I broke away and tugged his bandana before smiling and kissing him. And by the way, he murmured, kissing me back, I don't want Eli. His hands went to my waist. I want you.